What's up, dudes and dudes to the internet? My name is Scythe, and today we're going to be taking a look at Birthdays, The Beginning. Oh yeah, this title is really weird to fit with a really weird game, but it definitely does have its qualities that are attractive. Though our world looks plain right now, and I'm going to explain why I kind of already have a little bit of it developed. But right now, our goal is to birth dinosaurs, and that kind of seems to be the whole point of this game. Is it's an ecosystem type of game, so it's kind of reminds me of Spore, but more so about birthing multiple organisms rather than us controlling the organism, right? This world, though, it's too small to birth dinosaurs. I've expanded it somewhat because the first world, you can clearly see right there, was just a much smaller cube. I ended up going through the first tutorial section, and needless to say, it was about half an hour's worth of a tutorial with huge dialogues of text. Like, seriously, as far as the tutorial is concerned, while, yes, it did explain a lot of the different mechanics of the game, honestly speaking, experimentation is where you end up learning best, and it really just went on and on and on. So I wanted to skip past that part and maybe get into something that was going to be a little bit more exciting for all of you today. That means the temperature is likely lowered, so expand the C to adjust the temperature. So the way that this game works is it kind of has like a heat temperature, water, and humidity, or at least that's what we're dealing with right now, right? Why so glum? Maybe you're not happy, but I'm sure to celebrate a reunion, select an item you want from the menu and press Y. Use up and down buttons and Y to record up to 5 favorite items. I don't care. This is kind of what I mean. Like, I want to try and explain to the people how the game actually ends up working. Small rain cloud and a strong sunlight or something. Thank you for those items. Those are probably going to be really cool. These rain clouds will increase moisture in a select area. Strong sunlight will decrease moisture in a select area. They're very useful items. You don't need them? Ah, come on, don't be that way. Yes, I do. I guess you're still in a bad mood. You can have that river source then. Okay. It's also very useful. Thank you. You can use river source on any flat land as long as it's 1 T tall and 3 by 3. Otherwise, it won't work. What'll happen? I wonder. Give it a try and find out. So, this is the world that we've got right here. The world is our oyster. As we end up finding different creatures for the first time, you can scan them, which is going to end up giving you a lot of XP. XP goes towards getting your levels, which you can see in the bottom left. We are actually at level 3 right now, and our HP is drained just by shaping the terrain and kind of just doing different objectives and stuff like that, right? So it's like, as we're kind of shaping the terrain and just doing things down here in general, it's going to end up draining our HP. Thus, you want to have as much HP as possible, right? Because otherwise, the only way that we can restore our HP is by going to what the game calls macro mode up here. And while we can choose whether or not time is paused, time is fast forwarding, or just time is normally playing. When time is normally playing, we'll recover HP. When fast forwarding, that's going to take our HP as well. And you can see on the right side of the screen, life news is going to be all of the different species and creatures that we've birthed. So you can see most of it is just like plantation and, you know, other, like plankton and stuff like that, right? So you can see the zooplankton, for example. They are in massive supply, but they're going down, at least at the moment where it's paused right here. It's kind of like a stalk. It goes up and down all the time. But the Arathia creature, you can see, ended up actually going extinct. That's because the conditions in order for that creature to actually survive are not there, because you can see there is the air temperature, there is the plants, there is the animals, there is the land, there is the water, and all of the different terrain aspects of the game actually have a huge part to play. So you can see we got 91% land, only 9% water, which, ay. So what did they want us to do with this one? They were saying something about lowering the terrain and then using it creates a river source in a 3 by 3 section of flat land. Okay, why can't we use it right now then? That I don't understand. When you create many rivers, it may appear in the cube. Okay, so otherwise you get certain items that you can end up using. The small recovery leaf, we could end up just using to kind of heal ourselves while we're messing around with stuff. While we're down here, the world is all paused. You know, we're not really getting anything. But you can see with the mini-map in the top right, the little yellow dots that kind of is in the top left there not on the map. Those are actually items. I don't know why they're actually showing up right now. Okay, let's set down a nice little rain cloud right here. That didn't do anything. Rip me. That's not an area that we wanted to do that. But anyways, what the game wants us to do right now is just set up a whole bunch more water. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Okay, hopefully that's going to be enough water that we can actually have some stuff prosper. It seemed like we were actually going to be getting some dinorthus, not dinosaurs. But we are getting a lot of new types of creatures and terrain and stuff like that. The air temperature is actually going down. I don't know whether or not that's the right conditions for the dinosaurs to actually end up spawning. But as you can see, lots of new stuff is going on just as we're casually passing time. I'm gonna end up going down here and interacting a little bit more with all of the stuff going on. Otherwise, ooh, I wonder whether or not the sand that ended up spawning here actually has to do with that strong sunlight. Let's actually use this right here and see what ends up happening. Nothing. Okay, whatever. This is an evolution seed, right? Seed of evolution. So the seed of evolution promotes evolution in an existing organism. So as we used it on this plant, it's going to kind of promote evolution from the plant so they can end up kind of evolving into something hopefully a little bit different, right? So I'm going to use another one over here. And then let's go over to this side and let's also see if we can get away with using the seed of mutation, which is going to end up mutating a life form to end up actually making it create something new, hopefully. I probably need to create more ocean, but we just got a whole ton of new crazy creatures. All right. I'm down for that. And again, you can kind of see with the up and down arrows going on, certain species are going to end up eating other ones, and thus a species might end up becoming extinct, and then with that, the new species that was actually eating off of them might be forced to actually evolve. So it's actually got a very, very strong ecosystem style game going on here. Really, really cool, really unique for sure. There's those items that I was talking about. You see the little yellow icons. You end up getting items based on certain parameters, just generally speaking. If you end up getting like you're going to end up getting like items based on completing certain objectives or just like helping certain creatures end up spawning and stuff like that. But I'm just gonna end up laying down a little bit more of an ocean here and hopefully see whether or not that's going to end up making that difference that we need. Oh, I guess I almost forgot too to mention one of the very important things. You can see the lowland icon right there on the right where it says 0T. That's actually meaning that the land is flush. 0 is it's at the bottom and that's all there is to it, right? So as we end up lowering the terrain, it goes minus. As we end up raising it, it goes to 1. Which rip me, this river source thing actually needed 1T in order to work. So let's just try it out right here. This terrain will be the starting point of a river. Lower the neighboring land to connect it to water. By doing this, you can proceed to create a river. If you extend a river, you can obtain even more river sources. Okay, you see that green land surrounding the river? As the land around a river starts to soak, over time, the land will turn green. So this is kind of like a grass block, I guess. This rule applies to both seas and rivers. It's one of the most basic rules of this world. Now let's start making a river, lowering the neighboring ground, just like I told you, but be aware. The two rivers won't connect unless the adjacent land is the same height or lower. Okay. Also, if the land adjacent to the river is 0T, lowering it will create sea, not a river. You can always undo this, so feel free to play around. How do I undo that? You never taught me how to undo anything. I don't quite understand. So do we just lift up the water like that? Like what? I don't get it. We do have a bigger cursor now though, which is nice. But otherwise I'm a little bit confused. I don't exactly know what they were trying to tell us to do. Unless, was he just trying to say do something like this? Or do we set it free? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's all they wanted us to actually do, was just lower the block around the river. Was that so hard to say? Even if there's a sharp decline by a river, you can lower it to connect to the river. If you do it right, you can make a waterfall. Okay, so that's what this is for. Also, if you expand the cursor and lower the adjacent terrain, the entirety of the cursor will create a river. It's very convenient for when trying to expand a river. If you hold down left bumper and move the terrain, it will become the same height as the terrain at the center of the cursor. This is very helpful for when you want to smooth out lumpy or uneven ground. Yes, most definitely. Now, to progress from this point, there needs to be another birthday. I'm sure you've never heard of it before, but there's this thing called Pikaia or something. There should be a hint in the game info. That's cool, dude. I want to mess around with this waterfall. There we go. I've created my waterfall. Isn't it pretty? And I accidentally destroyed the other one, but whatever. Let's just go to the time vector world and see what happens. Oh great, creatures are dying, but new ones are being born, so that's okay. There's that Pikaia thing that he wanted us to get. If you look in game info, you'll see what you need to do from this point. Okay, you might have noticed that there are certain rules that regulate the birth of life, though new life will be birthed naturally if you create the right environment. Certain conditions must be met in order to create a significant change in the ecosystem. If you run into trouble, it's my job to help you out. Oh yeah, you may have noticed already, but it takes a while for the sea's temperature to change. If you change the temperature by moving the ground in micro mode, the sea's temperature will gradually adjust accordingly. For now, your goal is to birth the sea organism Astrasper or something. Okay, I don't really know how, but that's cool. I want to just fast forward time and see what ends up happening. Aha! We've got some beautiful things being born and lots of things dying at the same time. I think most of the things spawning out in the middle of the wilderness are actually supposed to be plant life trying to spawn, but it can't because we've already got this big river going on, right? You know what this game actually really reminds me of? A more I guess a more complex version of From Dust. I think that's what that game was called by Ubisoft, which was actually one of my all-time favorite one of these types of ecosystem games, and also happened to be very beautiful, but that one was more focused on controlling the liquids and stuff like that, whereas this one generally seems to be more focused on the terrain. I've changed things up a little bit, as you can see, but man alive, it certainly does take a long time for things to end up evolving. I guess that's why we do have the fast forward mode, but we need a little bit more grass going on is the big thing. We're getting all sorts of new species spawning in that we could scan so that we could end up actually getting some more levels and thus end up becoming more powerful and having more HP so that we can end up going down and actually messing with the terrain a little bit more. Oh yeah, another birthday. You know, it's sort of cute. How is it cute? Remember the library? What library? There's other information there besides what life forms you captured. Like life forms you've birthed but haven't captured yet, or hints for you. Oh, he's talking about the library in game. If you set it to a view tree, you can even see how different organisms are connected. Now you should try for and blah, 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 blah. So that's the other thing I guess that's really cool about this is I'm guessing a lot of these are real life species, if not all of them, which is pretty crazy if that actually is the case. I mean, I'm not like, I don't know any of that stuff, so it's not like I can tell you, but I just think that that's really cool if they actually do have all that stuff going on. Oh, there's a new thing to scan. Bloop. I'm a weird alien from outer space, and I scanned you, you stupid plant thing. Okay. Is this... Oh, we got another thing to scan too. Flowers at the top of the cliff. Okay. Weird vine things. Anyways, let me see if I can get things to change a little bit more here before we call it a day. Well, at least the world ends up slowly looking cooler and cooler as you go along. Like, this is definitely one of those games kind of similar to Katamari Damacy in that by the time you get to the end of the level, it's almost something completely different, you know? So that's really cool. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. It's not my birthday yet, though. Remember when I mentioned the first link of the food chain? Well, allow me to elaborate on that. Basically, strong predators feed on weak predators. It might sound cruel, but that's how all organisms are connected. Without prey organisms, predator organisms cannot survive. Okay. So there are a lot of life that's born just to be eaten. But if the environment isn't maintained, the whole system falls apart. So again, very ecosystem strong type of game. The food chain has a very deep connection to life. There may be fewer predators in total overall, but they require an abundance of prey to survive. So even in an ideal environment, if there isn't enough prey, a new species may not be birthed. That's enough lecturing from me right now. You should birth... Do we actually have something animating and moving down there? I don't think so, but I'm pretty sure our environment is actually doing pretty okay. So you know what? I'm just gonna fast forward and see whether or not we end up birthing something useful. Generally speaking, I'm mostly just messing around. I'm not really trying to actually win or anything. I'm just trying to make the terrain kind of a nice balance between water and land and stuff. Well, we got to level 5 and there's a weird little fish creature right there. I want to try and mutate the little freak. There you go. I don't know what that's going to end up doing, but hopefully it's going to end up helping out. Well, our world sure is coming along. We actually got some real normal trees now, and while quite a few creatures keep going extinct or keep saying that they're going extinct, generally speaking, everything's moving on the up. Generally, anyways. Some stuff keeps going extinct, but oh boy, everything's starting to go down. Maybe I messed with the terrain a little bit too much there or something. I don't know, but let's just keep going for it anyways and see if we can end up getting some proper land life before we call it for today. But honestly speaking, I don't know, folks. I think that's pretty much going to end up doing it for today. So, pretty cool game to be sure. Definitely something worth checking out. The complexity of it is insane considering the simplicity of the graphics, because the graphical style I actually really like. Like if we hop down here, okay, we got lots of evil sounds going on, but if we hop down here and kind of zoom out, you can just see like the graphical style of the environment actually looks really, really cool and kind of unique. Now, there's lots more that actually can end up happening with this game in terms of the style and stuff like that. Like check out the trailer for this game. I'll put a link in the description because man alive, they really have some really crazy beautiful stuff going on in this game world. If we can end up getting to the point where we can actually appreciate it. But for right now, it was a slow start for sure. And that might not end up changing or going away, but in any case, I still think that this game is still cool and definitely worth checking out for sure. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I very much appreciate it. Do not forget to like, share, favorite, and subscribe for more daily content. Sayonara, and stay epic, everybody.